All right, this episode of After Dark is going to be a little bit different than your normal ones. I'm going to react to a video, but it's not going to be a video like you've gotten used to. I'm actually going to be reacting to people on this episode. And what I'm talking about is there's another podcast. It's called Relatable with Allie Beth Stuckey. And it's a popular podcast. It's been on for quite a while. She's been making this podcast. And for the most part, they talk about things like family and religion, and they delve into politics quite a bit. She's a very conservative person, so you can imagine what they talk about with all of that, which is perfectly fine. I have no issues with people that believe that way or want to talk that way. But in one episode, about 2.5 years ago, they went a little bit different with her and her group. They started talking about conspiracy theories. And she sort of made a little minor name for herself for one of her declarations in this episode of the podcast. And I came across it on somebody else's reaction video, and I thought, that would be fun to kind of come on here and talk about it on After Dark. So let's go.
Okay, do y'all believe in aliens?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
Okay, tell me why.
I don't know. There's just so much out there in space. Like, too many weird things occur. There's too many.
Okay, name me one weird thing that.
I can. Would you like me to name you one weird thing that's happened? We can use this video that you're seeing here on the screen right now. Are they 100% aliens? The 3 now famous videos that got released in 2019, or should I say leaked in 2019? No, we don't know if they're aliens, but you heard the pilots of the ships that actually filmed these and witnessed them with their eyes and said these objects did things that no human aircraft could possibly do. But that being said, let us continue.
Has occurred.
I'm not the right. Okay, This was a yes or no question. I answered yes. I'm not the backer. If you want to know more, you should talk to Alex Stein because he's got the real info on the aliens.
Okay,
But
so you believe in aliens and have no reason to believe in aliens. All right, Bree and Dylan, do you believe in aliens?
I don't have like a hard yes, but I don't rule it out either, is what I would say.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's what I'd say.
I say no. I mean,
Yeah.
I just don't know if there's like, I don't know. I'm sure you can have a whole like theological conversation about it.
Yeah.
Theological conversations. So you see where their mindset is going. And again, like I said, I'm not trying to step on anyone's belief system here, but well, let's just continue.
I'm not sure that there's like theological reasoning for there to be. At the same time, I guess there is not theological reasoning. There can't be, but I don't know.
Well, I don't know. There might be. Okay, so like human beings are made in God's image. And what are aliens? Like, are they, because I think the creation story does tell us, okay, he made human beings, he made the.
Well, I'm not really versed that much on religion, but isn't the very first line of the Bible, God created the heavens and the earth? God created everything. So he creates this ginormous heavens, or the universe, if you will, that have all of these planets that we've discovered. And wouldn't you think there would be life on some of those too? But continue.
Beast of the field, he made the birds of the air, he made the fish of the sea, everything that creeps and crawls. And so I'm just like, where would aliens fall into that?
Where would humans fall into that by somebody on another planet, an alien? They might be thinking the same thing about you. Maybe they have the same belief system if there is a God and he created everything. So wouldn't they be thinking the same thing about you?
I don't think I do. I don't think I do. Although I do think that, like, the things that we see, the seemingly extraterrestrial things that we see that seems.
Oh, you mean these things? Is this what you're talking about?
To be like kind of covered up by the government, that should be like a bigger deal.
It should be. I feel like they've been like slowly releasing little things like that lately to try to distract us from other things. Otherwise, like, because they've had this information for such a long time, and now they're just like little like, ooh yeah, look at this weird thing, oh look at that weird thing, and we're all like, wow, look at that, and really they're over here doing something else,
other stuff. Yeah. Dylan, do you have something?
I think they're slow walking it to normalize it. So every few years they put out like, wow, like what's this video? Like she was saying, and so when they finally do say, yeah, aliens are real, we'll be like, well, we already knew that because we.
Okay, I kind of agree with what he said. I do think, whether by hook or by crook, some of the things that the government knows about, and if you don't believe government is keeping things from the populace, that's your opinion. That's your right to believe that way. But there are all sorts of things that haven't been explained or debunked, if you will, that they seem to know about, hence the video that you just saw below.
We're talking about it.
Yeah. I think my thing is like, okay, what if they are? I have a lot of things to worry about on a day-to-day basis.
Okay, as she continues here, this is where she kind of starts sort of mixing reality with fantasy in what she's saying. You heard her say she's got a lot of stuff to worry about. Let her continue.
Like, I don't really care. I mean, I don't think that they are. I'm with Bree, but okay, I can't do anything about them invading.
Who's gonna say they're going to invade? But she kind of clarifies her thought process as she goes on.
There's nothing that I could do about a flying saucer. What?
If they'd even want to.
Yeah, why would you want to?
There's nothing really here besides us.
Have you checked this place out? I remember I wasn't allowed to, but I went to a friend's house and I watched Signs in like 6th grade. Did y'all watch that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, of course it was freaky. So I guess if that's what an alien invasion is, then I don't want that to happen, but there's nothing I can do about it.
Okay, you're mixing a Hollywood movie with the idea that the aliens that might come here. And if you listen to my audio podcast, we just finished a mini series about what if, speculating all about what would happen if aliens did arrive on Earth. And she's kind of making my point in the episode where I talked about society, where most of society would be fine with it. But there's a certain sect of society, specifically the religious sect of society, would have a huge issue with it. And as you can see, she's mixing the fantasy world of Hollywood with the idea that the aliens we see in Signs and movies like Independence Day that just come in and to enslave us all, that's what aliens would do. But as I said in the podcast, I don't think a species that has the technology to travel hundreds and maybe even thousands of light years to get here would get here just to enslave us.
I mean, if Biden says our government has F-15s and we can't go against them, I mean, who knows what the alien lords have?
The alien lords. So she's immediately genuflecting that The aliens are going to be just like they are in Hollywood movies and be here to turn us all into slaves. That's a narrow-minded mindset.
I just don't know. Um, okay, speaking of that, is there a conspiracy theory that you guys, that like just one conspiracy theory that you guys secretly are kind of like, oh, maybe that's true? I have one, but I'll let y'all go first.
I don't think so. I need to think about it a little bit more. I think I just believe all of them. I just assume they're all true because you just get, it's like comedy is tragedy plus time. Truth is conspiracy plus time.
Truth is conspiracy plus time. Okay, everything in this world is not a conspiracy. I know a lot of people like to think that way, but everything in this world is not out to get you or not out to hold you down. But coming off the conversation about aliens coming in and attacking the earth, I suppose I understand their mindset.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Bree?
Yeah, I don't know that there are any. The thing is, what's a conspiracy theory? Because I feel like I'll hear something
like, okay,
different people will say things are different are conspiracy theories.
Yeah, conspiracy theories used to be like Elvis is alive and he's living in Palm Beach. Like,
okay,
that's how it used
one.
to be. Yeah, like I don't think I believe that. Or like Michael Jackson's still alive.
Yeah.
Or Tupac's still alive.
Or like Kennedy was killed by the FBI.
Now, the Kennedy one is a major conspiracy theory. Is there some truth to it? Probably. It does look pretty suspicious that they wouldn't release all of the evidence in the papers and whatnot for all of these years. And it's almost like somebody within government knew something. If they didn't have a hand in on it, they knew something about it. So that one, I kind of understand why that's such a big conspiracy theory. The whole Elvis thing and the Michael Jackson thing, those are just conspiracies that people grab onto and they want to believe it because they want to believe it. What's the point of the conspiracies of Elvis not really being dead? There's no crime being committed. Maybe he was just done with being a huge celebrity and walked away from everything.
Like nowadays, conspiracy theories are like, you know, Biden colluded with Ukraine or whatever.
Well,
Biden never colluded with the Ukraine. It's not a conspiracy, but that's an argument I know some of you watching will not agree with me on, but it didn't happen. Kind of like the 2020 election, which they don't talk about, but they call that a big giant conspiracy. And 60 some court cases later, and they all get thrown out. There's no conspiracy there.
yeah.
And like that's not a conspiracy theory. That's just like news.
Yeah. Right. But I'm thinking of like, oh, we didn't really land on the moon.
That's a big one. A lot of people think we didn't go to the moon, and they're going to continue talking about it.
No, I think I'm pretty sure we did. I'm like 99%
I don't know.
sure.
Why haven't we been back?
Well, he's going to answer the question for you in the proper way, but there's really no point for us to go back. And even though people don't like to believe, we don't have the technology anymore that we had in the late 60s and early 70s to go back to the moon. Could we? Yes, we could, but technology has advanced so much in that 50 years that, well, just continue.
It's too hard.
Is it? They're going to Mars.
Why do we need to go back? There's other places in space to go to. I don't know why we would need to go back to the moon.
I mean, why do we need to go to space? My husband and I don't understand the fascination with space anyway.
There you have it. They are Earth-centric. Nothing in the world is outside of this planet that we live on. So that's why exploration, you know how much things got discovered and learned by going to the moon in the 60s and 70s? How many advancements in technology we got from those trips to the moon? Exploration inevitably creates discovery, and discovery creates advancements.
Like, there's a great big world out there. Why do you need to go into space? Here's my conspiracy theory, and I'll just drop this and let y'all discuss what
And this is the one where she kind of made a 5-minute name for herself.
you think. This is a theory, okay? I'm just gonna say this. Dinosaurs never existed.
She just asked for thoughts. My thought, okay. Why do you think that? You asked for them to give you a reason about aliens earlier, but you never really give an answer to that yourself. The guy is about to give an answer, a weak answer, but an answer.
Thoughts. Discuss.
Well, I saw a picture. I think Elijah Schaefer tweeted this out, and
Of a
maybe you've seen this
dinosaur?
too. No, it was a picture of like a dinosaur skeleton, and it was a meme, and it was like the skeleton, like how scientists would draw it, what it actually looked like, and it was like if you could superimpose like a dinosaur skeleton on like a chicken, and so he was pointing out. I think he was pointing out like, the scientists are pretty sure that's what they looked like, but we don't have like a photo of one.
Yeah, okay, see, that's a perfect example of like what I'm talking about. That okay, so you've got these bones, you've got these fossils, supposedly. And they
Supposedly, have you never been to a museum? Have you never seen stories of all these dinosaur bones that are found all over the world?
supposedly date back millions of years. And then I think it's a bunch of nerds
There's your problem right there. A bunch of nerds. So she, from her other episodes where she specifically talks about religion and people that don't like religion, she gets offended when people don't like religion. But yet here she is degrading people by calling them nerds.
constructing this fantasy world that they think is
You just referenced a fantasy world with your alien take, and now you're saying that nerds are creating dinosaurs for their fantasy world. Okay, it's a double standard.
awesome. Like, how do you know what the like skin of a pterodactyl looked like? How do you know what it sounded like? Like, how do you know those things really? And like the different color patterns and all of that. How are you picking that up from bones? Now,
Okay, I can answer some of that. The colors, they really don't know. There are DNA in some of the bones still. By constructing the bones, they can sort of do a model rendering of what the dinosaurs would look like. As far as the sound, no, they really don't know what they sound like. And again, you're transposing what you see in Hollywood in, say, Jurassic Park as to what they sound like. Do we really know? No. Do we know that dinosaurs existed? Absolutely, we do.
some people, I don't think I would go so far as to say this, but some people say it's a grand conspiracy against like young Earth creationism, which says that the Earth is like 6,000 years old. And, obviously God created it, that they tried to like use that as no, the Earth is like billions of years old and like we've evolved over time, yada, yada. I don't know about all that. But if I were to pick like a theory, I'm like, I could see dinosaurs not being real. I don't know. And
Okay, so you just said it there. Even though you tried to play it off by saying you're not a young creationist, you're clearly a creationist. So you think God created everything. Do you think maybe he did it more than 6,000 years ago? You're not ready to admit that, but you sort of inferred it that this planet was created 6,000 years ago. Clearly, it was not, but you don't want to believe science because it goes against your belief system.
I don't know about the moon. I mean, I used to say, oh, yeah, for sure. But then I started thinking about it. I was like, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe there's some credence to that. What about flat Earth? Anyone?
No.
Me neither.
I'm actually happy to hear that they agree with that they don't live on a flat Earth, because a lot of folks think that we live, and we've talked about flat Earth in an earlier video, so that's all I really need to say.
The thing with the moon, where my dial has moved, I used to be like, oh, we totally went. Scientists, they totally did it. And so now it's not so much that I've seen evidence that we didn't go. I'm just like, now I don't trust the government to tell me the truth, and I wouldn't put them past it to fake it. But I don't necessarily believe, that doesn't mean that I.
Clearly, these people are anti-government. That's the one thing I can take away from this little 7-minute video that I'm playing for everybody out there. Are there portions of the government that you shouldn't really trust, you don't really believe, you think they don't tell you everything? Yeah, absolutely. But do you know how many people, how many thousands of people were involved in the missions to go to the moon? That would be an awful lot of mouths to keep quiet if we didn't go to the moon. So I don't think that's a grand governmental cover-up.
Believe that they did. I just wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah.
Because I don't necessarily know either way. I kind of think we did, though, but I don't know. You never know.
That's the thing, is that you never know. Okay, what about that?
Okay, they went on to say, I cut it off there because they really go into the rabbit hole there. The next thing they talk about is the Mandela effect, which I know a ton of people believe in. But I think you're getting a mass belief system when it comes to 99.99999% of things that are brought up about the Mandela effect. So, no, there's no Mandela effect. It's just how it's mass consciousness is the best way to put it. And they went on during that segment to talk about Jiffy and Jif. Jif was never called Jiffy. What's happened with the Mandela effect, and that is people confuse two peanut butters. One's called Skippy and one's called Jif. And at some point, somebody just started calling it Jiffy. And that's how the Mandela effect is born. So do you have thoughts about the Allie Beth Stuckey video that I played? Do you believe her side of anything they said on that? Or do you have thoughts about how I responded to them? Let me know in the comments. And as always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe so you're notified each time a new episode, usually every Monday, drops on TikTok or YouTube or Spotify. And until next time, nothing good ever happens until after dark.